Welcome to the Case Study Learning Series in Marketing Management by Skilled MBA. In today's case, we analyze the real-world challenges faced by Camp Teddy, a long-standing family camp located in rural Connecticut. Known for its multi-generational community and deep traditions, Camp Teddy faced unprecedented operational, financial, and cultural pressures as COVID-19 upended the summer camp industry. We will explore how the camp balanced stakeholder demands, evaluated strategic alternatives, and adapted its operations to navigate a deeply uncertain environment. Camp Teddy is a seasonal family camp primarily serving families from New York City and its surrounding suburbs. While technically a for-profit enterprise, the camp operates much like a non-profit, prioritizing legacy, culture, and community over revenue maximization. A unique element of the camp's structure is that many campers are also shareholders, and many families have generational ties to the camp. However, this structure created governance complexity, especially as some stakeholders pushed for modernization, while others fiercely defended tradition. Camp Teddy faced a convergence of challenges. Despite a modest increase in net income during COVID, the camp lacked sufficient capital for urgent facility improvements. At the same time, a large hotel chain expressed interest in acquiring the property, offering shareholders a financial windfall. The situation was made even more complex by the recent death of the largest shareholder, potentially opening the door for a hostile takeover. This left the camp at a crossroads: protect its heritage and independence, or consider strategic restructuring or acquisition. The camp's fate rested in the hands of its key stakeholders, family shareholders. Controlling 700 of the 1,000 shares, they held significant influence. Most were committed to preserving the camp's character. Small shareholders. Holding 300 shares, they tended to use the camp regularly and enjoyed discounted access as part of their ownership benefit. Hotel chain. Actively exploring a buyout or hostile acquisition, promising modernization and profit, but at the risk of eroding Camp Teddy's cultural fabric. Campers. Deeply attached to the camp's values and traditions, they sought continuity and reassurance during the pandemic upheaval. COVID-19 disrupted nearly every aspect of camp operations. Health and safety required immediate adoption of PPE, sanitization stations, and modified activity formats. Financial pressure. Capacity was reduced due to social distancing, while operating costs rose sharply. Programming limitations. Indoor activities were restricted. Traditional group events were restructured or canceled. Cultural disruption. The sense of community, central to the camp's identity, was fractured as shared experiences were limited. Pre-COVID, the camp was operationally stable, but capital constrained. It lacked funding for infrastructure repairs and modernization. During COVID, while revenue declined due to reduced camper volume, operational efficiency improved, leading to a modest increase in net income. However, these gains were insufficient to fund large-scale improvements. The camp's financial picture remained fragile and further complicated by uncertain future revenue, evolving health regulations, and rising maintenance costs. Management identified 4 strategic paths: maintain independence, stay true to the camp's legacy, and find creative ways to finance infrastructure upgrades. Negotiate sale. Partner with the hotel chain under strict conditions to preserve the camp's spirit. Restructure. Transition to a non-profit model, seeking grants and philanthropic support. Raise capital. Issue new shares, increase camper fees, and develop year-round revenue streams like retreats or off-season rentals. The hotel chain's interest sparked major debate. Potential benefits included financial returns for shareholders, access to capital for modernization, professional management, and expanded marketing reach. But risks were substantial: loss of unique camp culture and traditions. Potential price increases alienating loyal campers, standardization of programming, diluting Camp Teddy's distinct identity. shareholders had to weigh short-term gain against long-term meaning. In response to the pandemic, the camp implemented enhanced sanitization, regular disinfection of all surfaces and shared equipment, social distancing, reconfigured gathering areas, staggered activity times, and smaller group formats, cabin assignments, limited to family units with buffer time between bookings, testing requirements, pre-arrival screening, daily temperature checks, and on-site isolation protocols. These measures prioritized camper safety, but significantly reshaped the traditional camp experience. Marketing during COVID demanded a delicate balancing act: safety assurance, communicating strong protocols to address parent concerns, tradition, preservation, emphasizing what had stayed the same, not just what had changed, value proposition, justifying camper fees despite modified programming, reduced group interaction, and scaled-back services. The camp had to reassure returning families without overpromising, while also reaching new customers in a deeply uncertain time. Traditional activities were reimagined. Activity kits. Each family received personalized equipment to avoid sharing. Staggered schedules. Reduced density and contact through carefully planned rotations. Dining adjustments, prepackaged meals, outdoor dining expansions, and family-only tables. Cultural innovations, virtual campfires, family-focused traditions, and outdoor ceremonies helped preserve some of the camp's heart. The leadership also had to think long-term. Environmental impact, balancing sanitation with eco-friendly practices, limiting disposable waste while maintaining hygiene. Financial viability, ensuring short-term survival did not undermine future investment potential. Cultural continuity, finding new ways to preserve tradition in a changed operating model. Facility renewal, planning for infrastructure upgrades once capital or grants became available. COVID's effects were tangible. 60% capacity reduction, strict occupancy limits impacted revenue potential. 35% increase in costs, PPE, cleaning supplies, and staffing adjustments drove expenses. 28% revenue decline. Even with fee increases, total income fell sharply. 42% program adaptation. Nearly half of the camp's traditional offerings required significant redesign. These numbers underscored the scale of disruption and the need for decisive action. Effective communication with stakeholders became critical during times of disruption. At the onset of the pandemic, the initial COVID response focused on transparent messaging around operational changes. Health and safety priorities were clearly outlined, building trust from the start. To maintain open dialogue, the company held virtual town halls regularly. These included protocol updates and Q&A sessions with leadership, helping staff feel informed and engaged. Next, financial disclosures were prioritized. Management provided clear insights into fiscal impacts and capital needs, maintaining transparency through uncertainty. Finally, as takeover discussions emerged, the company ensured openness. They communicated clearly about hotel chain interest and proactively sought shareholder input, reinforcing a culture of inclusion and accountability. To guide strategic choices, the leadership applied a four-part framework: values assessment. What traditions were truly non-negotiable? What could evolve? Stakeholder analysis. How would decisions impact families, shareholders, campers, and staff? Financial modeling. Projecting independence versus acquisition scenarios under varying recovery speeds. Timeline planning. Creating phased roadmaps for decisions, transitions, and contingency management. This approach provided structure amid complexity and emotion. This case provides rich multidisciplinary insights. Marketing. Communicating safety and value under crisis conditions. Finance. Planning in uncertainty. Evaluating capital strategies. Strategy. Balancing identity with transformation. Crisis management. Responding to a public health emergency while protecting a legacy. Above all, it highlights the tension between financial logic and emotional heritage, a challenge many real-world businesses must navigate when disruption arrives. Thank you for joining the Case Study Learning Series in Marketing Management by Skilled MBA.